You were very believable in Lionheart. So, and that was before you took formal acting classes. So, like, did Sheldon Lettich just give you really good direction because you knocked it out the park?
Sheldon was, let's put it this way. Sheldon had a vision.
Mm-hmm.
He had a vision because Sheldon was an ex-Marine. I give a lot of credit to his discipline as a Marine because my father was a Marine. Sheldon had a vision, and Sheldon knew how to bring it out of you. Okay, that's why Sheldon's been successful, because his training in the Marine Corps.
That's
Okay?
interesting because he got really great performances out of Van Damme in Lionheart and Double Impact, out of Mark Dacascos in Only the Strong. And
That's
that's why I
right.
even said, hey man, you got to work with someone like Scott Adkins, which he likes Scott Adkins, and I brought that up to Scott Adkins, you know. Here's another director I think would be amazing to work with. Sheldon Lettich. And I say that because look what he did with Van Damme and Lionheart, Double Impact, and look what he did with Mark Dacascos and Only the Strong. So, and again, your acting is quite good, but he's like the guy that could really get these performances out, and he develops these characters, right? Because he writes these screenplays too. So I would love to see those guys work together in the future, but
So that would be stellar.
it would be.
That
It would be.
that I mean, I haven't met Scott Adkins, but I'm a fan of Scott. I really like his work.
You know, I think you played some interesting characters. Obviously, you're known for Boyka. Accident Man's a really fun character. But to really get the audience on board, we really got to care about the character. Otherwise, we don't really care about what happens to him in the movie. Like, for example, if there's a car accident down the street from you, it's just some random guy you don't know. Yeah, I don't care. But if you found out it was your wife or your friend, etc., you're like, oh, you're really involved. And that's how you get the audience involved so much more. Remember, these movies, it's all about the character. So have you ever thought of working with someone like Sheldon Lettich?
I'd be very open to working with Sheldon because, look, Double Impact was my favorite film for a long time. And Sheldon was all over that one, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Sheldon, write a script. Let's make the movie.
Wouldn't that be something, guys? Scott Adkins and Sheldon Lettich working together. I mean, creating the magic that Sheldon and Van Damme did back in the day with Double Impact and Lionheart. Something with a lot of action, cool action, stylized action, but a lot of heart and character. That would be something. Now, in this video, Sheldon will talk about, him and Scott actually did meet back in the day, and we're actually talking about working together, but there's a reason why that didn't happen, which Sheldon will explain. You know, funny enough, though, so I had recently interviewed both of them. I had Sheldon on in the past, but I did a new interview with them, and there'll be a lot more videos in the future. But I brought that idea up to both of them, and they're very receptive, because I know it's something they wanted to do in the past, and I don't know if they just got busy doing other things and maybe, put it to the side or even forgot about it. But I'm doing my best, my small part, to rekindle that flame by reminding them, because if years down the road something happens, we know it's going to be amazing. And I'll have to pat myself on the back for playing my small little part, and then it'll be a gift for all of us viewers, all right? Like, we're really the ones that are going to benefit by being able to watch such a movie. Anyway, speaking about Sheldon Lettich, make sure to check out his new book, From Vietnam to Van Damme. Great book, great behind-the-scenes stuff and all his amazing films. And then speaking of Scott, make sure to check out his new movie, Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday. It's out in the U.S. already, but now, today, it's out in the U.K. and elsewhere in the world, so you guys overseas can finally watch it, and you should. It's quite good.
Okay, I'd met Scott Adkins, but really before he started getting all, becoming kind of a big action star. Actually, I approached him about a few things. I was having a meeting with a potential producer in Brussels, somebody that Jean-Claude had introduced me to, who brought me over to Brussels, and we were talking about, there was a project that I was developing for Jean-Claude at the time. So I got on that Van Damme fan site, and I said, "Hey guys, I'm going to be in Brussels for a while. Would any of you like to come to Brussels and hang out with me? Okay, because I'm going to be here. I'd be happy to meet any of you in person." there was only one person who took me up on that offer, and that was Scott Adkins. Scott Adkins actually flew himself to Brussels from London, and we hung out for a day. I've got photos of me and Scott in Brussels. We went in the video store. So I was definitely interested in Scott. He was interested in working with me, and it just it's all about the producers. You know, sometimes the producers don't want to work with somebody who's got too big of a voice, okay, who's basically going to say, no, I don't want to do it your way. I'd like to do it. I think this is going to be better. And I've had those.
I mean, you're the director. I mean, I know producers have a lot of power, but like it should be your vision.
Right. But they're not looking for my vision, okay? They're looking for an action movie with a lot of ass kicking from start to finish. And I think that's different. That's the difference between my movies and some of the films that I'm seeing lately, because lately they've been getting former stuntmen and former stunt coordinators to direct these movies, these action movies, which is fine. The guys that have been doing it are terrific. However, there's not as much heart and soul in those stories.
Did you hear what he just told us? I hear all kinds of bullshit every day, pal.
It's basically because the producers just say, I want action from start to finish, okay? I want action in the first minute. I want action in the end of the movie is just got to be full of action. I was given the same marching orders by Avi Lerner for The Order. He basically said, I want action every 10 minutes, okay? And Moshe Diamant's philosophy, which he summed up to me a few times, he says there's 3 different kinds of scenes in a movie. You've got the action, the stupping, and the blah blah. I want more action, more stupping, and less blah blah. So, and that was basically what he told me for Double Impact. And we've got stupping, we've got action, and we have plenty of blah blah in Double Impact.
Like this?
Which is what really elevates the movie. The fact that we've got real characters. Jean-Claude's playing these real characters. They've got real problems. It's not just about rescuing the hostages and killing lots of bad guys, although we do that in Double Impact, but there's a lot of heart to that movie. Same with Lionheart.
That's why we remember it. At the very core, you have to have a character that we care about that feels real. Otherwise, you're not going to care about anything that happens to him. So why are we so involved in Van Damme and Lionheart? Yes, the fight scenes are amazing, but we love the character, so we actually care.
I've got to go back to an ugly place, and if I don't, I'll be running for the rest of my life.
I will tell you one movie that I found amazing, a newer action movie, because it had real heart and you care about the character. Extraction.
Right. Yeah.
That's an amazing film. That's what they need to make. That's something I feel like you would have made, something like that sticks with you. And like, I will watch that again. I remember it.
I'm a big fan of Sheldon. He's done some amazing movies. So, I would love it if he could write something for me like he wrote for Van Damme. That makes sense. The thing, Lionheart, I mean, again, Lionheart was, it was that Charles Bronson film remade, wasn't it? Harsh Times. It's basically Harsh Times with Van Damme. So it's kind of been done to death now. And then loads of people were ripping off Lionheart back then. For a while that was the if you wanted to do a martial arts action film, that was the sort of idea that you took, the underground fights and all the rest of it. I mean, Boyka's like that anyway. So I don't know if I want to do that, but we could find something new and interesting. I'd be very open to it.
Hey, what about this? I'm in a car accident. The motorist is uninsured. You with me?
Yeah.
It's all his fault. Now, he has absolutely no money. There is no way that he could pay me. So the judge decrees that he becomes my butler. He cooks my food, he cleans my house, he does all my shopping for me, and there you go. That's your program.